China Mobile, which is very important given the future of mobile and the role of the China and Korea announcement. So we're very excited about that. And we're very excited about the new experiences that 5G will bring to devices. One of those experiences, in addition of having very high speed, all cloud connectivity, connected to the cloud 100% of the time. Another one, and one of the guests that's going to come to the press conference today is a company that is very focused on this. And I will probably define as social presence. This has been completely transformed by the smartphone. When we get to 5G and you have 1 millisecond latency, you're talking about presence. And in addition of the complete convergence of internet and virtually unlimited speed, and it'll be connected with all of the enterprise systems, you know, as if you were in the internet. So all of those, and it will change also the economics of building networks in the IT space. So we're very excited about the 5G opportunity, and 5G is happening. And with that, I want to talk one more time of a topic that has been part of many of the discussions in wireless, which is the complexity of RF. From few bands in 3G, we had a multiplication of frequency bands with 49 different bands today in 4G. As users excess of 1,000 different combinations you have to build on the smartphone. When we get to 5G, we're looking in an order of magnitude increase. It's going to be over 10,000 combinations across 5G and 4G, creating both a challenge as well as a big opportunity in the front end. And I believe that's part of the reason that Qualcomm has been investing to have a differentiated solution in their When you think the transition we had as an industry from 3G to 4G, ends with 49 different bands today in 4G. As users demand excess of 1,000 different combinations you have to build on the smartphone. When we get to 5G, we're looking in an order of magnitude increase. It's going to be over 10,000 combinations across 5G front end. And I believe that's part of the reason that Qualcomm has been investing to have a differentiated solution in their RF front end, and that is not only a very important growth opportunity for. So with that, I would like to start the announcements we have for today. So the first one, we're announcing a series of front end design wins on Qualcomm front-end solution. Many cases are modem to antenna platform. And yes, I expect to get the question later, including our gas PAs in our PA modules into those devices. But we don't stop there. We also have Samsung. And we also have a design win at Samsung devices in 18. That's the beginning. of what we wanted to be a very successful trajectory for a front-end business. It's a great opportunity for us to create growth and value to our customers in mobile. And that is going to go all the way as we move into 5G. So in addition, we have now, as we have every single piece of technology in Qualcomm, from the baseband to the antenna, we also are making a preview today of what is going to be a completely new architecture for front end and wireless. This is the first tunable 5G, 4G multi-mode front end. And the reason this is so significant, because as we go from 4G to 5G, and you have all those different band combinations, semiconductor business is. We're a system company. That's in essence what the Snapdragon platform is. And you have to have the ability to rely on end by reducing significantly size, the bill of material. And it's the first time they can actually have a smart front end system that you have a controller that is tuning that front disruptive solution in the front end space. We're very excited about being able to come to this CES in 2018 and announce our progress in the RF front-end business with many of our long-standing partners, and to the mobile industry to 5G. So that's one, I think, piece of information we have to share with you. So with that, I'm going to change to a different segment. I talk about the front end. Now I'm going to go to the other four segments that has been expanding the SAM of Qualcomm. And today to know that when Microsoft and Qualcomm created this category called the Always Connected PC, the category was announced in Hawaii with the presence of Microsoft and Qualcomm. Many of the PC being embraced by the entire PC ecosystem, which is great news. We all want to see an always connected PC with a modern technology, and we're actually changing the landscape. When you take your PC, you don't have to worry about boot time anymore because it doesn't matter. It's always on. It's always connected. And we would like you all to be at 11 a.m. When we have yet another partner for the Always Connected Snapdragon PC, which is going to be the Lenovo announcement tomorrow. We talk about front end, we talk about PC. Now we're going to go into networking. And I will take a little bit of time to go over the network announcement because this is one that we're particularly excited about it. And it actually changes how you should think about the home and the networking. So I will start by saying we had made enormous progress in the industry with our Wi-Fi mesh networks, Wi-Fi self-organizing networks to provide coverage for the whole home had redefined Wi-Fi, and the consumers already made the decision. 40% share now in the United States retail Wi-Fi mesh. What it started in 17 at single digits is 40% of the revenue in the market right now. Because consumers want that you have gigabit speeds, about having gigabit in every room. And it's because many of the services are being consumed in mobile devices. And by taking that solution that we build, a number one position in access point in retail and enterprise, we're now reshaping the carrier segment. And that's very important. The carrier segment has been not a significant market for Qualcomm because it's been traditionally driven by the incumbents, which is associated with the wireline modem. As the operator now understands that the fixed broadband is not about the wireline modem, it's about providing coverage in the entire home because mobile devices are the one using that data. That allows us to take the Wi-Fi mesh into the home. And we had a very exciting announcement with Plume. We are into the Plume device system for whole home coverage in one of the leading operators. And that's started to change the profile of what an operator networking solution is and create an opportunity for Qualcomm to go take to the carrier segment, which was primarily driven by the wireline incumbents, to make that a solution as similar as we'll be able to do in retail and enterprise. So that's another exciting announcement. It's what I describe as winning the leading device in the new category for expansion and diversification of our business. From networking, we are not stopping at Wi-Fi. As you think about Wi-Fi, in providing coverage in the entire home, that becomes a platform that you can add more capabilities. There is an announcement made by ASUS about a speaker that is also a router. One of the things we have done, partnering with Amazon and Microsoft, we actually have now Alexa voice service and Cortana virtual system adding to the Qualcomm Mesh platform. So you started to add the new integrated voice capabilities. As you have coverage everywhere in your home, you started to add capabilities to that. And meet the technology that will be based on Qualcomm speakers, we take a system-level approach and try to put that into the router. And then more importantly, you make the router a data collection platform. So if you're an operator, that's the best solution for you to become a hub for the IoT and collect data through the Qualcomm platform for machine learning in the home. So that has been a great opportunity. It's a platform for innovation. It's the Qualcomm system DNA that is going to change how we think about the Wi-Fi, access point business by bringing new technologies into the retail enterprise, but also the carrier system. Another one is the automotive space. And I will give you some data about how well we're doing in automotive. We talk about phone, not including the front end as we ended the year in 17. On the automotive alone, we already have over a $3 billion design pipeline. And we've been very focused in three areas: telematics, infotainment, and in-car connectivity. And we have now and on 17 alone, we have 25 new design wins. But I'll give you a little bit. When we think about the car is a great platform for innovation. And going back to the strategy of focusing where we can leverage mobile technology, we started by connecting cars with 2G and 3G. And at the time, you have somewhat, very attractive, but that are, available like OnStar. You have emergency crash notification, diagnostics. Then you start to add, remote lock and lock and stolen vehicle recovery. But 4G changed that with the connected car. And when you think about 4G plus 5G, it's a whole suite of new use cases that virtually creates, in the views of an OEM, there should be no car that is not a connected car. And the connected car change, how the car maker interact with the car, will change how the consumer data interacts with the car, how entertainment data interacts with the car, how insurance companies interact with the car. Besides that, you have all of the other services inside the car. So it's a great opportunity in telematics. In addition is what's happening in infotainment. And that is intuitive to explain what's happening. When cellular starts to boom as a portable device in the early days of 2G, everybody was taking their cell phone when they were behind the wheel. And now we just take for granted that we have a hands-free connection with Bluetooth. Same is happening today because the smartphone is not just for voice. So users are behind the wheel, they're looking at the smartphone. That creates a great opportunity and an understanding for car makers to actually change dramatically how the car UI on the infotainment, the rear seat entertainment, the dashboard is designed. And I'll argue that that's a very democratic feature. You're starting to see now entry-level cars with premium tier infotainment. That's been the power of Snapdragon. We have designs with 12 automakers right now. And on infotainment alone is over $1 billion pipeline for Qualcomm. We've virtually won the majority of every single premium tier infotainment, RFP that was issued in 2017 for cars that are going to be in the road, in 2019 and beyond. So it's a very exciting, and with that, I have 3 major announcements to make today. One announcement is we're announcing the partnership with Jaguar Land Rover for infotainment and telematics solution for their cars. There's one thing about this announcement that is very significant. This is the very announcement of an infotainment system that is an MSM. The modem is included in the application processor. In that case, so you have an SoC across telematics and the infotainment system. It is also, one that it starts to take into consideration multiple silicon opportunities into a car as you no longer upgrade the infotainments, but rear seat entertainment and the dashboard. In addition to this great partnership with Jaguar Land Rover, we also announcing today a partnership with Honda for the 2018 Honda Accord, which is going to be, in the road with a Snapdragon automotive platform and 4G telematics. And we are announcing a partnership with BYD for the electrical cars. And that also brings, for the first time in the discussion, for power efficient of electrification. We're being partnered with BYD for also the digital cluster in addition of the infotainment. So those are the 3 announcements of the car, and I'm going to go to, the new segments. And IoT, it's one of the greatest, opportunities that we have in the long run, given the size, of the market. And IoT, it is in 17, in over $1 billion of revenue for Qualcomm. And when we look at all the different categories that we are in IoT, it's a very broad market. Wearables, robots and drones, connected camera, industrial, the home entertainment, home control and automation, and voice and music. We've been very focused and win the designs that are redefining the category. So I have some examples for you. But what we see that is very exciting about this is through the power of low power processing, multimedia, and connectivity, we actually can redefine that market, leveraging all the technology that we have in the mobile space. And picking a few announcements that we have in CES, this one is one that is very significant. When you think about the evolution of voice UI as a natural UI that is going to evolve, in particular with the progress in machine learning, and you think about the smart audio platforms, we're announcing today 3 partnerships. One with Amazon Alexa, that is going to be part of the Qualcomm smart audio platform. The other one is with Google for the Google Assistant. And the last one is with Microsoft for Cortana. And you add that to the partnership we had announced last year with both Alibaba and Baidu in China for voice UI, you should think about now Qualcomm has the ability in any device that our customers wants to build to have many of those solutions coming in the Qualcomm reference implementation. So you can make every speaker. You can make, any home hub device. You can make any router device capable of supporting, an assistant in a voice UI solution. And we're very excited to announce this broad partnership with the entire ecosystem on the Qualcomm platforms. And this announcement is one that I'm particularly very excited about it. If you remember, we had an acquisition that we made a while ago of CSR. And this business been, very successfully integrated into Qualcomm, has been in that space. And we're announcing right now our new Qualcomm low-power Bluetooth audio SoC. And I'll give a perspective for you what is the capability of the device. As the market change to earpods or earbuds, how you want to call it, our solution offers a 65% reduction in power consumption. So if you want for me to give a use case example, for talk time, if you want to be using that for a phone conversation versus the leading solution to more talk time. It's a significant change in power consumption and performance. Getting actually 3 interesting opportunities for Qualcomm and your partners. One is for all the existing, and well-established, high-quality audio brands to be developing those products and offer to their customers. The second one is for handset OEMs to partner with those companies and have that as an accessory for their smartphone. And the last one is many of our handset OEMs to think about that as an accessory that can put in box for the smartphone device. So we're very excited. That's the best platform in the industry today, bar none. And I think it's something that, will be very successful with our partners. And the last part of our presentation is how we think about new immersive use cases. And we embrace early augmented reality and virtual reality. We have over 20 devices launched with XR and over 20 in development. My personal friend, another fellow Brazilian, Hugo Barra from Facebook, Oculus. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you, Cristiano. First of all, it's, let me just go back one slide here. It's great to be back here at CES. My first time with you on stage. Thank you on behalf of the Oculus team for this opportunity. We'll go one slide back, please. All right. So last year at our developer conference, we announced a new virtual reality product called Oculus Go. Oculus Go is our first standalone VR product, which is in this sweet spot between mobile VR, which is VR that you connect to your phone, and PC VR, which is VR that you connect to your computer. So it's this sweet spot in the middle, and it's a new category that we think will bring a lot more people into VR. And we think standalone VR is going to push the limits of innovation in our industry. Oculus Go is going to be the most accessible standalone VR product in the market at an incredibly affordable price. And we have two quick announcements today about Oculus Go. Our first announcement today is that Oculus Go is built on the Qualcomm Snapdragon mobile VR platform. In fact, it's going to ship with a Snapdragon 821 chipset. And we've worked very closely with Qualcomm to make sure that we have the ideal combination of high performance and power efficiency that we think we need for Oculus Go. We've also been working with one of the world's most exciting and innovative consumer electronics companies. And our second announcement today is that Xiaomi is our hardware partner for launching Oculus Go globally. We're really excited about this partnership, and that's not all of it. In fact, today, Oculus and Xiaomi are jointly announcing a new standalone VR product that's designed specifically for the Chinese market. And to talk to you about this exciting new product, I'd like to invite on stage Xiaomi VP Thomas Tang.
Thank you, Hugo. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas, VP of Xiaomi Ecosystem and head of Mi Lab. Xiaomi's mission is to bring innovation to everyone. We are so excited to bring innovation into our partnership with Oculus and Qualcomm. Today, we are a new product we built exclusively for the China market. Look like twins, right? It shares the core hardware with Oculus Go. It is based on Xiaomi VR platform and supports the Oculus mobile SDK. So this allows existing Oculus developers to bring their VR content to Chinese users. So we'll have more details to share soon. Thank you, and see you. Thank you.
I think we have a photo opportunity together. Ready?
Yeah.
Here.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Hugo, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Much
Michelle.
appreciated.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated. Thank you for the great partnership. Okay, so in summary, there's two things I want to share with you before we go to Q&A. Maybe I would like to summarize that, we're really working hard to set the pace for other industries, leveraging innovation in mobile. We're well positioned to be, supporting many of our partners and lead a transition of the industry from a very successful 4G industry to an upcoming 5G. And we are going to continue to be extending mobile technology in the largest scale ever of the consumer electronics industry, which is mobile, into other industries to create innovation, other industry opportunities for our customers and growth and diversification opportunities for Qualcomm. And that's why I would like to summarize it. With the CES, we're happy to make more substantial, progress and announcements in the automotive, the IoT, the mobile computer space, networking, and the front end and mobile. And we're looking forward for that to being very successful business for Qualcomm. I have one more thing to say before we will go to the Q&A. I would like to ask you to please join us. We have a very important upcoming event later this month in China with many of our partners of the China ecosystem. The China mobile ecosystem is a very vibrant mobile ecosystem. Changing dynamics as many of the Chinese players become global players. And we have a number of exciting announcements that we're going to make at the end of the month in a similar event in China. And I would like you, to please stay tuned with Qualcomm and join us to those announcements. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to go take questions now to Q&A. Thank you. So I believe we have time for about 4 questions.
Hi, Cristiano. Ian from Anantech.
Oh, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Last year, we were told that for VR to take off, especially with Qualcomm and the mobile platform, that for AAA titles and AAA movies and lots of content creation consumption, we need 100 million devices in the ecosystem to make it worthwhile to put in the money. Obviously, the relationship with Oculus Go is one stage of that. How is that going to change Qualcomm through 2018, 2019, and how can you make 100 million a reality?
Okay. maybe I'll answer a question with a provocative statement, which is, yes, I understand it's not a fair comparison, but remember the very first cellular devices, they're like big transportable devices, and very different than what we got today, what we saw in the mobile revolution. So I think what you saw today, those devices are becoming smaller, they're becoming more affordable. The technology is actually creating now very acceptable levels of performance at competitive price points. So if you see companies like Facebook, Oculus focusing on generating scale by partnering with Xiaomi for global expansion, and I think I would not bet against this scale mobile. It's difficult to make a prediction how we're going to get to 100 million devices, but I will argue that even if you get a transition from 4G to 5G, and all of a sudden you have mature 5G networks with much higher bandwidth, much lower latency, I think the experiences are going to be much more compelling. You're going to have a modification, as I mentioned, on social interactions with social presence, and I think that could be a compelling experience. Look, we believe in XR. We believe that it's going to fundamentally change. We understand there are obstacles, but I think what we see is a trajectory, and we want to keep marching down the cost and the scale until we get there. Thank you.
Hi, Cristiano. It's Mike Walkley with Canaccord Genuity.
I have lights on my face. I can't see anything. Okay. Hi, Mike.
Just want to ask your view of 5G rollout. Just how do you see it progressing, maybe relative to a 4G rollout? And building on that, when 4G rolled out, Qualcomm really enabled it and had such strong share. Could you maybe discuss how you see Qualcomm's place in rolling out 5G in the competitive environment?
Very good. Thank you for your question. I know we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to spend a little bit of time on this question because it touches a number of areas. First of all, how are we seeing the 5G rollout? I think now the industry is getting more clarity. 5G is not about millimeter wave, it's not about sub-6, it's about both. It's going to be about refarming of existing spectrum as well. And I think you see now operators across the globe, United States, Europe, you'd expect Australia, Japan, China, Korea, all making plans to have deployments, as early as, late 18, beginning of 19 to the second half 19, building a scale. And we see two types of deployments. We see operators that already have sub-6, basically looking into the existing macro cells and deploying a sub-6 base station. We also see operators relying on millimeter wave, create a more dense network. One data point, which is very interesting, with real operator data, as some of this discussion matures, for example, using the United States as an example, in the market of Chicago, just on the existing sites, when you deploy millimeter wave, the coverage reliability was about 70%, which is much better than people thought. That takes a lot of the traffic, leaving some of the lower frequencies for indoor. And in 5G, unlike other technologies, that's another important distinction. You don't need to have ubiquitous coverage because the fast switching attributes, you can go and rely on the gigabit LTE. So the answer to your question, deployments are happening the following way. Operators moving to gigabit LTE, you see that everywhere. We have over 40 operators because that's the foundation. That is going to be to a 5G network with GSM. 2G for voice was in the early days of 3G and 4G. That's a gigabit LTE. And then on top of that, you have sub-6 and millimeter wave. Now to your question about the ramp. One thing that is giving us a lot of excitement about 5G is not only the demand for unlimited data and faster speeds and operators trying to get to a lower cost point on a cost per bit. But we saw a trajectory that has been like this of increasing bill of materials with more memory content, like flash. Have phones going from 64 to 128 to 256 and beyond. Once you have 5G and you have coverage, many of those OEMs are now realizing you don't need that much memory, because you're always connected with the cloud. And certain services, you just rely on cloud connectivity because of the lower latency and high speed. So as you have the additional cost of the bands and the technology on the 5G, economics that indicate that we could have a very successful transition. From a competitive standpoint, look, we always believe that for you to be a leader in the new generation of technology, you have to be a leader in all of the preceding technologies, because it's not about checking the box on the standard, it's about having a multimode solution that is scale. That's why instead of talking about the baseband that we announced in 2016, and we already had commercial, silicon that we're doing standard compliant over the air. We're talking about a tunable front end. We're talking about how to get gigabit LTE, how to get all those things. And I believe this system level approach will continue to give Qualcomm a differentiated position. Thank you. Right there, right there.
Yeah, Dean Takahashi from VentureBeat. I wondered how concerned you are about the Spectre and Meltdown bugs, and whether it's going to cause you some delays or not.
I expected to get that question. Look, I think there's a number of information out from the Android ecosystem, from Google, from ARM. There are couple of things that are unique about the mobile ecosystem. I think that's why actually we talk sometimes, we refer back to mobile behavior. In mobile behavior, most users download software from an app store. That's kind of different. So I think you have to have a malware installed in your device. And then on top of that, when you look at what the impact that you had on Android and ARM, and we had patches that got actually released as early as Google has been very proactive working with us, with ARM, on the availability of the solutions. And I think, it is not the same level of concern. And specifically, when we look of the fix that are available, in particular when you get to the memory mapping, access to memory, I think the mobile ecosystem probably has the benefit that there's negligible to non-performance impact. So it is not an area of concern for us and for the mobile ecosystem right now. Phone. Yeah, you.
This is related to your last question regarding the this Snapdragon 845 and this SPU technology, which I think more people would like to know more about. Maybe you could address it here because it's related to connectivity as well as security.
Yes. I think maybe if I refer back to our Snapdragon Tech Summit, on the 845, we announced a new capability of the Snapdragon platform, the SPU, for security. What I'm going to talk about the SPU is we're looking at security from a holistic manner, and I'll give a little bit of the background. Every single industry today, you can probably will have a hard time finding a single industry that cannot touch by a smartphone. Whether it's in the customer interactions, B2B, a smartphone is somewhere in the node. If you secure the smartphone, you actually can avoid a lot of duplication on security. So the principle behind the SPU is actually is to have a comprehensive system level security. They ranges from the ability to store secure data. For example, you have multiple interactions within the platform. They collect biometric data, for fingerprint reader, from camera, etc. How you actually can extract some of those informations and secure that in a secure area. So that's a vault element of the solution. Also, the ability to have a secure execution environment, the ability to have an ability to build other security solutions on top. So SPU is about taking security as a platform and try to looking at the ecosystem, rely on the SPU, and actually have that as a platform that they can build on top. That's where we innovated with the 845, and you should expect that in the future platforms on the Snapdragon family. All right, I think I have a question for one last question, and then we're out of time. One last question? All right, that's good then. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you.